Who's the boss? Princess Charlotte.
For the rest of us, it's more a question of, okay, we have to shift the way we support, and that's what we need to do.
A quiet royal gathering turned into a nightmare that nearly shattered a young princess's future. What seemed like a normal event took a dark turn when Princess Anne uncovered signs that someone was trying to bring down little Charlotte.
She's been called the royal family's secret weapon since 2019. I checked. So for 5 years, she's been a secret weapon.
This conspiracy was so cleverly hatched that even her parents, William and Catherine, had no idea their daughter was in danger. But Anne's sharp instincts caught it just in time, and what she did next left her in tears and changed everything. The calm before the trap. It was a bright spring afternoon at Windsor Castle, where the royal family gathered for a small charity lunch. On the agenda, a children's gardening event meant to be light and meaningful. Princess Anne, officially Princess Royal and a tireless patron of over 300 charities, hosted the event.
It is a pleasure to see you here and to spread the word about Gibraltar, and particularly the festival.
Catherine, Princess of Wales, attended with her children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Charlotte was especially quiet that day, pale and unusually reserved. At age 10, she's known for warmth and confidence, so her silence was concerning. Queen Camilla was also present, now serving as Queen Consort.
She will bring to the demands of her new role the steadfast to duty on which I have come to rely so much.
And recently titled Vice Admiral of the United Kingdom Navy on her 78th birthday. Animated and engaged in conversations, she appeared supportive, but Anne sensed something off behind the smile. As Charlotte practiced a simple speech about community care, Camilla leaned in slightly. Anne, who is widely known as the hardest-working royal,
And it's been a pleasure so far this evening to have met many of those individuals who've been connected.
watched closely. She noticed how Camilla's aides adjusted the microphone stand as the cameras rolled, and later heard Camilla softly say to Charlotte, "Try not to show off too much, dear." The phrase stung with a sharpness that suggested intention rather than care. Charlotte froze, gripping her bouquet of flowers. Anne's heart sank. She witnessed the exact millisecond when Charlotte's expression shifted, confidence fading into fear. And in that moment, Anne's own emotions broke. Guided by decades of royal poise and genuine care for her great niece, she knelt, steadied Charlotte's arm, and whispered encouragement, "You're doing beautifully." Anne's voice was calm, but inside she trembled with resolve. This was no accident. It felt like a well-placed trap, subtly aimed to diminish Charlotte's presence in front of everyone. And so, without raising her voice or causing a scene, Princess Anne decided to step into protector mode. Her eyes brimmed with tears, not of sorrow, but of fierce determination. She would save her great niece, and it would begin with this moment. A royal whisper. A hidden wound. After Charlotte's speech ended, there was polite clapping from the crowd. Cameras flashed. Reporters smiled. But Princess Anne could see the truth. Charlotte was trying not to cry. Anne gently held her hand and led her to a quieter corner near the Rose Garden at Windsor Castle, a place Anne often visited herself for peace. Anne knelt down to meet her eyes and softly asked what had happened. Charlotte hesitated, then whispered that Grandma Camilla had told her not to act like she was better than anyone else. Anne froze. It wasn't the first time she had heard such stories. Camilla, though often smiling in public, had long been surrounded by whispers of cold behavior.
The royal blessings seem to have worked. A recent poll found more than half of Britons thought she should be named queen.
Especially behind palace doors. While there is no public proof, many believe her rise from the other woman in King Charles's life to Queen Consort was filled with quiet power games. Charlotte looked confused and asked if she had done something wrong. Anne firmly shook her head and assured her that she had done nothing wrong and had been perfect. Her voice cracked as she said this. Though Anne had always been known for being serious and no-nonsense,
I suspect that's an achievement due in no small part to the work of all the guests here tonight for putting in a word.
When it came to children, especially Charlotte, who reminded her of her younger self, her heart softened. Anne remembered how she too had once been a child in the spotlight. In the 1960s, she endured harsh media attention and endless royal expectations. People had expected her to be quiet and perfect, but she had always been strong. She even rode horses professionally and competed in the 1976 Olympics.
She won the individual title at Burghley, beating riders from 8 other nations.
Seeing Charlotte silently struggle now brought back all those old feelings. Anne gently told Charlotte that she had her mother's strength and added that she would always stand by her. Just then, Camilla appeared behind them, her tone sweet but sharp, as she asked if everything was all right. Anne stood and shielded Charlotte slightly, replying that yes, everything was fine, but perhaps it was time the children were given some rest. Camilla's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Anne sensed this wasn't just a bad moment. It felt planned, and if that was the case, then Camilla had crossed a line, one Anne would never allow again. She sent a quick message to Catherine, signaling her to meet them. As the royal event continued in the background, Princess Anne held tightly onto Charlotte's hand, determined to protect her at all costs. Clues in the presentation.
I'm not here because this was my choice. You very kindly asked me to become patron of your organizations.
The next part of the charity event was a formal presentation. Princess Charlotte, age 10, was to hand a bouquet and make a short speech for the charity's gardening project. It was designed to be a kind and uplifting moment, but Anne sensed a trap. The bouquet Charlotte held looked unusually large and heavy, awkward for her small hands. Anne saw Camilla standing nearby, smiling, but her eyes were calculating. As Charlotte stepped forward, she looked nearly unsteady. Anne quietly moved closer, ready to help if needed. When Charlotte spoke, her voice wavered. The microphone's volume had gone low. Camilla's lips curved into what looked like satisfaction. But Anne had already set up a backup system earlier, a discreet mic switch that preserved Charlotte's voice. Suddenly, Charlotte's voice came through clearly, calm, confident, and kind. Charlotte smoothly continued her speech. "We help our gardens grow, and we help people grow too." It was simple but heartfelt, and more than the organizers expected. Cameras flashed on Charlotte's steady face instead of capturing a falter. Catherine, standing behind Anne, looked confused at first, but then proud. The relief in Princess Anne's heart was overwhelming. It had been a silent, unspoken rescue. Camilla realized her plan had failed. Anne's quick thinking had turned a potential embarrassing moment into one of Charlotte's proudest. Beyond the surface drama, these moments echoed real royal tensions. Anne, known as the hardest-working royal, balances her charity duties with strong care for her family. In contrast,
The historical perspective indicates a long association. Thanks to the team for making this event possible.
Camilla's rise from Duchess of Cornwall to Queen Consort has sometimes been associated with behind-the-scenes palace friction and guarded public image. When the applause died down, Anne gave Charlotte a quiet nod. "Well done, my dear." Charlotte beamed, her cheeks pink with pride. Catherine stepped forward, covering with motherly warmth. "You were brilliant." Camilla offered a thin, formal smile, no real praise. Later, as the group moved into the castle's corridor, Anne subtly brushed Charlotte's hand. She looked at Catherine and whispered, "She tried again just then." The mic, the bouquet. Catherine's expression changed from pride to concern. Anne gave a small, affirming nod. "I've got her." They entered the dining room together, but things had shifted. Cameras captured a united front. Lady of charity, protective aunt, loving mother. Camilla remained poised, but the dynamic among them had quietly shifted, away from subtle sabotage toward quiet resolve and protection. A quiet confrontation. After the presentations, the family moved into a corridor leading to the dining room. The castle walls, decorated with portraits of past monarchs, felt full of history and tension. Anne walked close to Charlotte, offering gentle encouragement. But just behind them, Anne heard Camilla's soft comment. Well, she didn't trip this time. It wasn't loud, but enough to sting. Anne saw Charlotte's lips press briefly into a line. A trap had been sprung again. She stopped, turned firmly toward Camilla, and spoke in calm, clear tones.
What we do, we hope, contributes to the monarchy and the way in which...
Charlotte's doing very well today, thank you. There was no drama, just quiet firmness. Camilla's face tightened for a moment before she nodded stiffly. Catherine, observing the exchange, moved closer to Anne and Charlotte. She rested a protective hand on Charlotte's shoulder. As they entered the dining area, cameras flashed, capturing unity, but also Anne's fierce gaze. Inside, the dining hall was set with elegant tableware and soft candlelight. A charity luncheon took place with light conversation about community gardening. Anne introduced Charlotte for a toast. Charlotte spoke about learning kindness, a real detail from garden events she'd previously done with her parents and siblings. Her words were simple and heartfelt. She said, "We grow flowers and friendships," and smiled at her parents. Camilla raised her glass politely, but didn't speak Charlotte's name. The silence was loud. Anne caught Catherine's eye. They shared a look that said more than words. The small camaraderie between them was a line drawn. Princess Anne felt a complex mix of pride and protectiveness. In real life, she is known to have a very close relationship with her niece, Catherine. When Catherine married Prince William, Anne publicly walked by her side at Westminster Abbey. That bond gave Anne influence and insight into Catherine's life as a mother.
Everyone had been so supportive, and both William and I were really conscious that, this was sort of...
As lunch finished, Anne gently suggested they move outside. Sunlight and fresh air could lift Charlotte's spirits. The family followed into the gardens, and once more, cameras caught smiles. But Anne noticed Charlotte's shoulders relaxing slightly as Catherine squeezed her hand. Behind them, Camilla stayed poised, but a subtle shift had taken place. The gardener staff whispered about Charlotte's performance and how she seemed untroubled by the earlier whisper. The message was clear. Charlotte had stood strong. Hidden in plain sight, Anne's small interventions had saved her great-niece's confidence today and set a boundary that would be hard to cross. Shadows of a pattern. That evening at Adelaide Cottage, the family sat together for light snacks. Princess Charlotte looked calmer now. Her earlier worries had faded, but Princess Anne and Catherine stayed alert. While Charlotte chatted with her cousins, Prince William quietly walked over to Catherine and asked if everything was all right. She nodded and quietly told him what she had seen earlier, how Camilla kept making small comments that seemed to make Charlotte feel less important. William didn't say much, but his face showed he was upset. This did not feel like an accident. Both William and Catherine are known for being loving and involved parents.
What they were going through, what their experiences of parenthood was really like.
They always try to protect their children's emotions and privacy. That day's events had clearly hurt them. Anne gently got their attention. She said it didn't feel like a random event. She asked them to look for photos of Camilla's expressions and note when they were taken. Looking at Charlotte, eating a scone happily, she added that they should protect, not point fingers. Her tone was calm but serious. Everyone knew Charlotte deserved kindness and support. The next morning, Charlotte asked if she could join a gardening event that Camilla had arranged, but Catherine softly shook her head and smiled. She told Charlotte that taking a little break would be good. Charlotte nodded and hugged her mother. Later, when palace staff told Camilla that Charlotte wouldn't attend, she said Charlotte might just be delicate for a bit, but her tone didn't sound kind. It was cold, almost like she didn't care. Staff members noticed the tension between Anne, Catherine, and Camilla. It was quiet, but clear, like invisible lines had been drawn. Later that day, Anne and Catherine walked outside. Anne picked a tiny flower growing between stones and gave it to Catherine. She said it was for Charlotte, to remind her that even small voices matter. Catherine smiled and softly thanked her, grateful for Anne's care and wisdom.
For the rest of us, it's more a question of, okay, we have to shift the way we support.
A test of boundaries. A few days later, the royal family had a quiet dinner at Highgrove House, Prince Charles's peaceful home known for its lovely gardens. At the table, little Princess Charlotte greeted everyone with her sweet voice. When she said, "Good evening, Granny," to Camilla, the Queen Consort looked at her and, in a cool tone, asked if she was sure she wasn't tired. The question felt strange, less like care, more like criticism. Catherine noticed right away. Prince William gently guided Charlotte to sit with her cousins. Princess Anne placed a calm hand on Catherine's shoulder. A quiet tension filled the room. Camilla kept her usual calm look, but everyone noticed something felt off. As dinner went on, people chatted politely. Camilla spoke to Charles about garden matters, while William and Catherine spoke softly with the children. But Anne could tell something was wrong. Later, she told Catherine that Camilla's question had not been about health. It had been about power. Anne stayed close to Charlotte all evening, making sure she felt safe. When Charlotte asked to show a drawing to her parents, Anne took her hand and walked her over. It was a small but strong act. Charlotte mattered. Later that night, Anne wrote a note to a trusted royal aide. She mentioned Camilla's words and an earlier incident involving a hidden microphone. She wanted to keep a clear record, knowing some actions may not seem big, but they still matter.
Things like that will change, and how we are part of the support for the monarchy may change slightly.
Back at Adelaide Cottage, William and Catherine talked quietly. They agreed they would speak up again if needed. Their daughter's peace and confidence came first. That week, Anne's quiet tears turned into action. Her calm strength was shaping how the family moved forward, even without saying much. Growth and guarding in Balmoral. Summer had come to Balmoral Castle in Aberdeenshire, Scotland, the royal family's quiet retreat surrounded by hills and rivers. This year, Princess Anne, Princess Catherine, and Prince William were the first to arrive with their children. They enjoyed peaceful days, nature walks, pony rides, and picking lavender. Princess Charlotte laughed freely, but something still felt uneasy: Queen Camilla's presence. The tension was not loud, but it was still there. One afternoon, during a walk through the heather garden, Camilla and Charlotte walked ahead, while Catherine stayed close behind. Anne followed at a quiet distance, watching. Camilla picked a flower and gave it to Charlotte, then told her she should listen more when grown-ups were speaking. Her words were soft, but the meaning stung. It was not just advice, but a reminder to stay in her place. Later, as Charlotte picked berries with her mother, Anne quietly took Camilla aside. She told her that even small words could hurt a child's spirit. Camilla didn't say sorry, but replied that she was only trying to guide the girl. Anne, keeping calm, said real guidance is gentle, and what she heard was not. That evening, everyone gathered in the drawing room for tea. Charlotte stood up and read a poem she had learned. Her final line was, "We grow together." Everyone clapped. Anne wiped away a tear, proud and protective. Camilla stayed quiet. By the end of the visit, something had shifted. Camilla stayed kind but distant. Charlotte played happily by the River Dee and helped in the garden, feeling safe again. Thanks to Anne's quiet strength and Catherine's love, the child's joy was safe once more, not through a fight, but through quiet care. The whisper that changed everything. After the visit to Balmoral, the royal family went back to their usual lives, but Princess Anne felt something was different. She didn't say much, but inside she felt uneasy. She kept thinking about Camilla's cold tone, Princess Charlotte's confused face, and Catherine's quiet worry. One calm afternoon at Windsor Castle, Anne and Charlotte walked in the rose garden. Suddenly, Charlotte asked why Granny Camilla didn't seem to like her. Anne was shocked by the question. She stopped, knelt down, and gently told Charlotte that sometimes grown-ups forget how special children are, but she should always remember she is deeply loved. That night, Anne called Prince William. She told him everything. Her voice shook as she explained that Charlotte needed more support. William admitted he didn't realize things had gone that far and promised to take action. A quiet family meeting was set at Clarence's house. No press, no cameras. William, Catherine, Charles, and Anne were there. Camilla came last. Anne calmly said the issue wasn't about feelings, but about Charlotte's place in the family. Catherine softly added that children remember every word and every look. Camilla admitted she never meant to hurt anyone, and maybe she had been too firm. Charles said the family had already faced too much pain and didn't need more. Anne, known for her strong personality and military discipline, showed her softer side. She reminded them they could disagree privately, but not at the cost of a child's peace. From that day, Camilla acted kinder toward Charlotte. The little girl even told her nanny that Granny Camilla was nicer now. That tiny remark brought tears to Princess Anne's eyes, happy ones. Charlotte finds her voice. Charlotte was laughing again. She was no longer shy when Queen Camilla came around. She stood taller and looked people in the eye. But the biggest change happened one afternoon at school. While chatting with a friend, Charlotte's teacher asked the class to write about someone they admired. Many children picked superheroes or pop stars. Charlotte picked Princess Anne. She wrote that her great-aunt Anne was very brave, listened when she felt sad, made her feel strong, and loved her like a hero. The teacher was touched and shared the paper with William and Catherine. When Princess Anne read it, she wiped away tears. She had never wanted praise, only peace for Charlotte. But those words meant more than any medal she had ever received. In real life, Princess Anne is known for her courage and strength. In the 1970s, she once stood up to a kidnapper, boldly telling him, "Not bloody likely." But Charlotte had seen another side of her, the gentle, loving heart. Soon after, the royal family gathered for official portraits at Buckingham Palace. Charlotte stood proudly in the front row, holding Anne's hand. This time, when Camilla looked at her, she smiled warmly. Later, Catherine told Anne that she hadn't just helped Charlotte through confusion, she had helped her become herself again. Anne simply said that was what family was for. Even Prince George noticed the difference. He told Charlotte she seemed braver now. She replied that Aunt Anne had taught her how. The royal family often stands before cameras, but behind the scenes, real emotions unfold. Feelings are hurt, children feel left out, and sometimes even grown-ups forget kindness. But this story showed that inside the grand palaces, love and courage still matter most. A family changed forever. After all that happened, something changed in the royal family. People started acting a little softer, a little kinder. Even Queen Camilla, who had once made Charlotte nervous, began to try harder. She started asking Charlotte about her hobbies and giving her space when she needed it. It was not perfect, but it was a start. Princess Anne stayed close to Charlotte. They took walks in the gardens at Windsor Castle. They read books together. Anne even taught Charlotte how to ride horses, just like she taught her own daughter, Zara Tyndall, years ago. Princess Anne is famous for her love of horses. Charlotte grew stronger every day. She spoke up more.
Good luck, I hope you win. Bye.
At school, her teachers said she was helpful and kind. At home, she helped her little brother Louis with puzzles. One evening, she even made a card for Camilla that said, "Thank you for being nicer." Camilla smiled and hugged her gently. Prince William and Princess Catherine were thankful too. They invited Anne for tea more often. William said, "You didn't just help Charlotte, you helped us see things more clearly." Princess Anne, as always, brushed off the praise. "We're a family," she said. "We must care for one another." The newspapers never reported the full story. They only showed pictures of Charlotte smiling, Anne walking beside her, and the family looking happy again. But inside the palace, everyone knew the truth. We hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around for more eye-opening revelations about the Windsors.